Is investing in your education a good human capital investment? My name is Adam McDaniel, and this is my final presentation for BMT 524. So, in my presentation, we're going to talk about the topic of investing in our education, and is it a good investment? My goal is to kind of simplify things to grasp the concept in a more clear image of investing in our education. So, let's just take all of us in this class, for example. We're all taking this class to continue our education, to hopefully all graduate with an MBA, and we are spending money that we could be using to go out with friends, go shopping. I know myself, for example, if I wasn't spending this money on my MBA, I could probably buy a jet ski or a new bass boat. But instead, I am taking that money and investing in my education. I'm also investing time. We're all investing time. We're spending time that we could be using with our family, with our friends. But instead, we are spending our evenings after work focused on continuing our education. We're investing all this time and money, all in the hope that we will graduate with a graduate degree that will lead to more success and more income in our future. So, how is continuing our education or investing in our education a human capital investment? Well, really, to break it down and make it simple, we are spending money to gain more knowledge that will lead us to making enough money to offset this education, or to offset the amount of money that we are spending on this education, or in a sense, break even and make even more money than we would have without this education. So essentially what we are looking at is the cost of education against the expected value of returns. So let's look at some basic facts. There are fewer unemployed college graduates than there are high school graduates with no college degree. College graduates on average earn more money. College grads on average earn $678 more dollars a week than high school grads without a degree. Those with a bachelor's degree or advanced degree have lifetime earnings over $2 million on average, while those with only a high school education have an average lifetime earnings of just over $1 million. Those with bachelor's degrees are almost 50% more likely to have health insurance through their employer. And over 70% of those employees have employers who contribute to their health insurance. So it's easy to say with just those simple facts alone that college is the best investment someone can make in themselves, or continuing their education is the best investment someone can make in themselves. However, just because you have a degree does not mean you're going to have the most lucrative salary possible. There are a lot of college majors that may not be worth the investment. I'm not at all saying this coming up here to be disrespectful or saying that it's a negative career path, but simply just as an example. So let's take the major of drama and theater arts, just as an example. The median annual wage for a drama and theater arts major is $45,000 a year on average. A major at a public university, or actually for an in-state public university, it's going to be about $25,000 a year. So $100,000 over the course of 4 years if you graduate in 4 years and don't spend your college career partying and wasting time. So let's just say hypothetically you pay for this degree out of pocket. So no loans, and you graduate and you have no expenses. it would take over 2 years to pay for your investment in your education. But we have to be realistic here. Most young adults have to take out student loans, and you will have, at the very least, after graduation, your basic living expenses. You have to eat, you have to have a place to live. One way or another, you're paying for transportation, whether that's public transportation, a car, Uber, buying a bike. You have to have your basic transportation to get to work. So taking all that into account, in reality, it is going to take you several years to pay off that degree, when in reality, you probably could have just taken some acting classes, spend more time working on stage or in the theater to gain more real world experience, and spent a lot less money than going to college. So, in this example, a college education probably wasn't your best investment. You just need to invest in your education in a different way. We always tend to think of investing in our education as going to college, but that's not always the case. More times than not, it's really going to be a good human capital investment to invest in your education. But one thing we have to get out of our heads as Americans is investing in our education is going to college. And that's simply just not the case. Like drama and theater, for example. Look how many successful actors on TV and in movies didn't go to college. Or some of them that went to college didn't graduate with a degree. In some career fields, in some pathways, college is not the best investment, but you're still investing in your education in a different way. It's really been a hot topic lately that, college is not for everyone. You can still invest in your education, like I said, without going to college. Let's take underwater welders, for example. On average, an underwater welder will earn $55,000 a year. Some of them earn upwards close to six figures a year. The classes and certifications that an underwater welder would need are going to cost them in the range of $40,000. $40,000 for some welding certifications and diving certifications is a lot less than spending $100,000 at a public university and even more at a private university. Underwater welders still make a lucrative salary and have great benefits. They have union benefits, but they still have to educate themselves on the art of welding. They have to educate themselves on proper diving techniques. They're still investing in their education. It's just not college like all of us are doing. So, really, what it boils down to when you're investing in your education, it all depends on what your career path is and what you're doing. For fields like medicine and engineering, yes, you need to go to the best possible school you can get into. It does matter what college you go into. Someone from an Ivy League school going into the medical field is probably going to be more sought after than a basic in-state public institution. But let's take teaching, for example. Is it really worth to spend the extra money at a fancy private school versus a state public school when in the end, teachers are going to make the same? It doesn't matter where your degree is from. Teachers, public school teachers, are going to make the same amount of money. It doesn't matter if you have a master's degree from Princeton or a bachelor's degree from the University of Missouri, Missouri State, University of Illinois, an in-state public institution. So to properly invest in your education, you have to look at what field you're going into. Does it really matter what college you go to? So in the end, when we think of investing in our education as a good human capital investment, all across the board, yes, it's one of the most important investments you can make in your life. A human capital investment, human capital stays with you forever. But one thing we all have to get out of our heads is investment in our education means going to college. The more degrees you have, the better investment you have. And that's simply not the case. For myself personally, yes, spending the money on my MBA is a great investment for me. I am in the business world. I work for a Fortune 500 company. I need to have the knowledge that an MBA can provide me to make myself more competitive. But one of my best friends, he's a millwright. And quite honestly, right now, he makes more money than I do. Will I make more money than he will in the long run? Sure. But at the same time, he is not spending all this extra money on college. He's a millwright. He invested in his education in welding, carpentry, the skills needed to work in more of a hands-on job. Still invested in his education, don't get me wrong, just not in the same way I did. If you go to high school and only high school and graduate and don't spend any extra money or time to educate yourself or whatever field you want to go into, you're not going to be competitive in the workforce. You have to decide what career path you want to go in, what you want to do with your life. Sometimes that means investing in college. Sometimes that means investing in technical school. Whatever it is you choose to do, you have to educate yourself on that topic and educate yourself to the point that you are competitive in your industry. So investing in your education is a great human capital investment. You just have to invest in it the right way.